Good morning. Something is happening though on my Instagram. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'm gonna get it right this time. The last time I tried to do both, honey, it didn't work out. Okay, here we go. Hello, good morning, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Omi Bell, and this is today's news with Omi. I come on in the room. Come on in the room. Today I have some interesting conversation for you because so the entire news cycle is right now all about Kamala Harris as the presidential nominee. And so I'm not actually going to cover a whole lot of that this morning because that is what is happening in the world. So like you can literally turn on any station, turn on anything, and you can talk about that if you want to talk about that, and people can talk about that. But what I want to talk about today is the call last night. That was the Black woman call. That was the call of Black women across the country. I want to talk a little bit about that call. Good morning, Legit Liana. Good morning, Boss Lady T. Good morning, Black Beauty Cosmetics. Good morning, Wellness and Dressing. Typical when I'm doing this, I'm just straight up reading out the news. Today's news with Omi is going to be a little different. One of the things I do want to mention now before I get into the call last night, I want to speak openly and vulnerable about the call of all the Black women last night. So there were over 40,000 Black women on a Zoom call last night, plus whatever other streams are happening, where we all everybody got together. They raised in that time frame, in a matter of maybe 3 to 4 hours, they raised about over, I think it was 1.2 by the time we got out the call. We got in the call around 8:30, 8:45. The call ended around midnight. A little after midnight, the call ended. If you were on the call, drop me a comment. Were you on the call? Thank you. And that's what I want to talk about. Legit Liana, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but legit Liana, she said she was on the call thanks to me. I want to talk about that. Is literally what today's news on is going to be like. Now, normally, I run down all the news. So tomorrow, y'all can expect it. I'll be running down all the news. Actually, I got something to go to tomorrow, but I'm gonna try to run down all the news for y'all. Also, tomorrow morning, if you tune into Sirius XM Urban View Channel 126, I will be there talking about all politics and all that. So I'm reserving today to talk to y'all about how I felt about a call last night. Um, Last night was amazing. But what I came to talk to y'all about is trusting Black women, okay? Or just trusting Black folks. Because there was a couple things that happened on that call. And this is me. I'm only saying this because not as a dig, but because I want us to lean into this moment. Like, let me be clear. I'm going to share my reflections on the beginning of the call, but I also want to be clear that I'm not sharing it for the purposes of criticizing the call at all. I'm sharing it because this is a real experience that I was having internally from a like an anxiety standpoint, and it kicked up some things for me. And I feel like somebody needs to speak on this part, because if somebody doesn't speak on this part, we're gonna walk around acting like we're not all experiencing all these traumas around being in a Black community, or around working together, or around trusting each other. Like, great infusion of great moments are a part of our healing, and this part of our healing also needs to be talked about. So this is the only reason why I'm mentioning these things, because the call was amazing, the energy was beautiful, the women who organized it, they did an amazing job. So at the beginning of the call, what happened was they only I would my sort of recommendation for things like this is, I'm going to say it as, prepare for your success. Probably like 3 or 4 hours before the call started, or 3 or 4 hours, yeah, by the time I looked at the post, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty had publicized to Politico that the call was going to happen. Right, I received the link to the call maybe 2 minutes before 8:30. Right, so I just so happened to have time. I just so happened to be chilling, and I was like, okay, boom, somebody sent me the call. Now, normally these are not things that not saying they're not things I pay attention to, because I'm CEO of Black Girl Ventures, so I have to pay attention to things like this. But I saw it and I was like, oh, okay, I'll hop on. Right. And so I sent it to some other friends of mine, because it was The text literally said spread the word. So I sent it to some other friends of mine. One good friend I will not name, that is an amazing person in the public eye. She said, "Oh, she said, "Oh, they meet every Sunday." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, this is my first time actually finding out about it. But cool, they meet every Sunday. Dope. All right. If you're just joining me, this is a different version of today's news with Omi. I'm actually reflecting on the call of over 40 something thousand Black women last night. And so when we went to hop on, though, we immediately overpowered the Zoom, and the Zoom blanked out because they had it set for a personal meeting room that could only hold up to 1,000 people. And so immediately I'm looking at it like, why would they send this big of a text message around to the entire Black community of women and decide to hold it in a meeting room that only holds 1,000 people, right? So that was weird to me. So okay, so then things switched. Somebody said, okay, here's a new link. And so I got a new link. I want to be clear, if you just joining me, this is not me sharing this because of the dig on what they did. This is me sharing this because there's a healing point here around trusting each other in this community. All right. So, and I know people out there felt it like I felt it. So that's another reason why I am mentioning it, because we cannot collectively heal if we keep going on acting like things ain't happen and but it's fine because we had a beautiful moment. True. But what tends to stand longer is those pokes and that anxiety that we have. And I want to heal that. So that's my whole point of this video today. All right. Again, this is not to bash anything that those women did, because they did an amazing job. This is a point of healing that I'm bringing up. So what happened was link doesn't work. Boom, blanks out. Right. So then somebody said, okay, here's a new link. So they give me the new link. I hop on a new link. Right. So I hop on a new link and I'm like, bet, okay, I'm here. But the room filled so fast with the level that they had elected. And I'm thinking to myself, now granted, no, I can't even own that. I'm thinking to myself, y'all, honestly, Zoom is a click of a button to upgrade. All of these streaming platforms are. Like, what was interesting about StreamYard, though, is that I streamed. So what I did was for the people who I know, my private circle of folks, I said, hey, everybody's like, it's locked. We can't get into Zoom. I'm like, oh my God. Like, my immediate thought is these women can't miss this moment. Like, honestly, that was my thought. My thought was like, we can't miss this moment. We can't miss this moment. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that we can, like, what could we do? This was my thought, right? My thought was, what could I do? What could I do? That was my thought. So I said, okay, I got StreamYard. I have Zoom. We have a bigger Zoom at BGV, but I'm like, I can't Zoom to Zoom. That's not going to work. I'm like, okay, I got StreamYard. Bet. So I popped up a StreamYard and I gave people my back end link to get into the back end, right? And you can only have about 15 people in that back end. And I'm like, oh, I can actually go live more publicly. So then I actually created a different link and I actually went live so that I could stream so that nobody would miss the moment. I promise you, that's what I was thinking. I was not thinking, oh my God, they're not going to like this. I wasn't thinking that I was going to be criticized about it. I wasn't thinking that they were going to be upset about it. I was thinking Black women can't miss this moment. And all the women that are texting me cannot get into the Zoom right now. That's all I was thinking. What could I do to help? So I created a StreamYard, and then with that StreamYard link, I sent it to my friends, and they sent it to some of their sorors. Now, in that sense, we ended up with a lot of D9 people on my particular stream, and a bunch of people who were friends with those D9 people. Now, we had a very trusted, interesting, great sort of chat. Like, in the chat, people were really talking. People were really like cheering on. People were really listening. Now, meanwhile, on the Zoom, they were spending a little bit of time trying to get it together. That's understandable. You know what I mean? That's understandable. They was trying to get it together. So then they discover, like, I guess somebody from their soror group sent them my stream. Now, there were more streams that were supposedly happening outside of my stream, right? So somebody sends them the link, so they come into the stream. They're like, "Who's running this stream?" I said, "I am." Right, like, because I'm not really it wasn't a matter of trying to take nothing away from them. I wasn't trying to do anything sneaky. It was a matter of like, it really was Black women can't miss this moment. How can I be helpful, right? So then they started talking about it in the main Zoom, like, oh, if you're streaming, like, shut down your stream now. So then I thought, okay, well, I'll shut my stream down. But mind you, when I'm about to shut my stream down, there's 1,000 women in my stream. We have literally overloaded the StreamYard version that I had. Okay, the StreamYard version that I had at that point was overloaded. Even StreamYard sent me an email saying, hey, you went over your limit, but we didn't stop you. Next time we'll stop you. I thought, hell yeah, I F's with StreamYard now because of that. Because they didn't stop my stream because I had over the number of streams. What they did was they actually allowed it. And then they told me later, hey, don't do it again. I love that because that allowed the stream to keep going. So we had 1,000 women in we had 1,000 women in my stream that was streaming their stream. Now, I'm telling y'all this story because we gotta be in a place of collective healing. That's why I want to be clear that we gotta be in a place of collective healing, right? So when I hear them say like, shut down your stream, like on the Zoom, and I see them joining my stream, like, whose stream is this? I'm like, it's my stream. Hey. So then I started sending in my chat, hey, when they open up the Zoom, when they finally got enough people where they could open up the Zoom, I started sending the Zoom link to people in my stream. Hey, y'all, go over to the Zoom. Go over to the Zoom. But at that moment, they didn't have the chat open. So I think some people stayed in my Zoom, in my stream, because we were all talking and they didn't have it open. They opened it way later in the night, but I mean, like, but still. So the whole time though, I'm like, I'm going to try to get people to their stream. So I'm sending a link and being like, hey, y'all, go to their stream, go to their stream. Also, they would start putting links in the chat around, like, if you want to organize, if you want to join their mailing list, if you want to do all this. So I created a note in my phone to put all the links together. And I tell people, DM me if you want the links from tonight. DM me if you want the links for tonight. Because I'm an organizer myself. Like, my company is Black Girl Ventures. We are all over the country serving Black women, right? And serving Black women in small business in general. But it was important for me that not only do people get this information that are in my circle, but that they get the links and everything so that they can help do some of the organizing. So anyway, if you're just joining me, I'm talking about a Black woman call last night, and I'm sharing this because here's where the point of healing came in for me, and where I realized, like, because I was like, man, I'm just not gonna say nothing about this. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna move on. But then I realized, like, no, if we don't talk about the times, these moments where, like, you can mean well but get hit hard, you can want better for your community. Like, for those who joined may have been thinking like, dang, come on, y'all, like, y'all sent out all these text messages, but y'all didn't think about freaking having a bigger Zoom. Like, honestly, the bigger Zoom is a click away. It's a click and a payment. And maybe now that they got connected to the COO of Zoom, they didn't have to pay. I don't know, but it's actually something that you can do on your own. So it's like, yes, for those who organize events, which is a lot of us, Black and brown women out there, for those of us who manage large communities, for those of us who just want it better, we're sitting there being like, what the heck? Why we can't get into the Zoom? I'm sharing it because this is where I want everybody to heal. They had a hiccup. It was a moment. They fixed it. Right? Now, yes, could it have been better? Yes, it could have been better. But these are the moments where we can't tap out. We can't go, see, that's why I don't work with Black-owned small businesses. See, that's why I don't do the. Now ain't the time for that. Like, I hear you, but now ain't the time for that. Okay? And yes, wellness and dressing, you said it right. The moment of stress and anxiety that you have underneath this Black-owned brand isn't fully executing the way that you know it can be executed. Like, having that feeling is coming from a space of trauma, and that's why I want to talk about this today, because we got to heal that. Because granted, okay, that's fine. They made some hiccups. That's fine. I also say that, like, when I see them going like, oh yeah, and we know who gonna we captured who was streaming. I'm thinking like, I'm streaming to help y'all. Like, and honestly, I did the Lord's work for that stream. I didn't have to put together that list. I didn't have to tell people to DM me. I didn't have to. I DM'd over 20 people last night, helping them get information to people that initially got blocked out of the Zoom and then still couldn't really get into the Zoom all night. And I'm saying that because I think, oh my God, Vet, you saying something. Vet, you saying something. Hold on, I'm gonna get to that. So Vet just said in the chat, for me, it wasn't even that. They started with all the voices being represented, and I didn't see one person that speaks for me. That's also why I'm speaking today. So, okay, collective point of healing. When a Black-owned business or a small business, or in this case, this I know, girl, I know it's you, and this and this idea around small businesses, Black-owned businesses, the anxiety that we feel from wanting them to do it better. Okay, it's real and it's okay. But the collective point of healing is not to develop a behavior or an action right after that says, oh, that's why I can't work a Black-owned business. We don't never do da. We can't cut it. It's not time for that. Heal that within yourself. Okay. Because one, that's not real for all small businesses. That's not real for all Black-owned businesses. And that might not be these women's norm. So do not carry that. So that's the one thing I wanted to say. Second thing I wanted to say is that something that in the chat on live on Instagram, my homie Inovia, who runs the company Vet Dad, she's amazing. I should look her up. But she said it wasn't even that for me. They started with all voices being represented, and I didn't see one person that speaks for me. Lord. Okay, so I often wonder, right? Because y'all on the stream, y'all likely know me, or maybe you're tripping over finding me through some method of some article or something. I'm boots to the ground with my team on what it means to support Black and brown communities, underrepresented communities, what it means to be an economic engine for small business owners. All right. We are funding people. We funded over 450 people in this last 5 years. We have done programs across the country. We're set up regionally. I am in major networks of folks that do care about this, and some networks of folks will have to, convince people to care about this, but it is real. Y'all know the work I'm doing. I don't feel like I need to do a badge of honor on that. If you don't know, then look up blackgirlventures.org. If you don't know, you can Google Omi Bell, you can Google Shelly Bell. But anyway, I'm saying all that to say, not as a bragging point, I'm saying that to say, when I get on calls like this and I hear them calling out these different entities and women's names in sort of honor, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, some of these people they calling out have been nasty to me. Like, some of these people they calling out have been rude motherfuckers to me, yo. And so it was hard for me to, again, another trigger point that I have to heal, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, collective healing is also a part of this moment. That yes, some of those people they was calling out, some of those entities they was calling out, some of the heads of those entities they were calling on that call. Because one thought was like, dang, do I want him to call my name? Like, do I want him to be like, oh, me bad from Black Girl Ventures is also here? Do I want that? And that's something I've struggled with over the course of, this is me being very vulnerable with y'all. This is something I've struggled with over the course of me building Black Girl Ventures. It's like, what rooms do I want to be the most valid in? I'm valid in the rooms where it counts for the work I'm trying to do. And then when it comes to working in these realms that are like all a little bit more homogeneous, I would say that, like, I do often wonder, like, how much do I want to rise to notoriety in those spaces, and what does that mean for me, right? It almost goes back to how people jumped on Amanda Seales for saying, like, she don't get notoriety in the Black community, right? Like, I mean, it's neither here nor there on what you think about Amanda Seales, but I felt her point. Like, it's like all the work that I do with, I'm not going to go down that road, but I'm saying it to say that's the part of healing for me. So when I hear them calling out people that I know have been nasty to me, or when I hear them calling out people that I know, like when I started Black Girl Ventures, because I'm in DC, my proximity to the Capitol Hill is 25 minutes. So I've been in some of these rooms and they don't see me. And it's not, and I have to ask myself, do I want that? what I realized that I don't necessarily, it's neither here nor there on whether I wanted, I worked it out with my therapist. What is true for me is that the Black women who needed to be on that call could not be on that call. You know what I mean? Like that is the Black women in my circle who need to see that call could not see that call, all because they couldn't get the tech together. I wasn't going to stand for that. But they don't know that because they don't know me. So now it's just like, or they don't, yeah, they don't know me. So in their minds, it's, oh, here's somebody trying to steal the string. Like, I didn't care nothing about that. Like, I didn't need to do that for any reason that would be solely related to me. I did it because there were so many women who were saying they couldn't get in. This is a point of healing, though, when I say, when you're watching a group of women who have power, and you're saying to yourself, none of these women speak for me. And you saying to yourself, none of these women understand my plight. None of these women they calling out or have been instrumental in ways that you can actually identify, right? It's important to note that there's so many bigger things at play that we have to heal that within ourselves. Right? We have to say to ourselves, you know what? They didn't speak for me, but they're speaking for somebody. And where do I find the person that does speak for me? Right. It is a little worrisome, and you can get a little anxious around being in rooms where you feel like there's a lot of people talking, there's a lot of Black power here, but none of these people don't speak for me. And sometimes I'll be honest that the people who organize things, and I'm not talking about them specifically, but sometimes the people who organize things are oblivious to what voices actually speak for people. This is part of our, in my opinion, this is part of the divide in the Black community, is that there isn't really a collective understanding of like what voices speak for what. That's why we always shun in the hip hop community. That's why we always like, Sexy Red ain't blah blah blah. Glorilla ain't da 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 da. Cardi B ain't da da da. We keep doing that because we don't have a collective understanding of what it means to speak to the diaspora that exists in the United States. We didn't have anybody there representing the Caribbean culture. You know what I mean? Like there's things like that where you can be sitting in your own home wherever and saying to yourself, I think this is great, but I think this is great and I love it and it's beautiful, but like this is where we walk away and people just feel like, yeah, well that was a great moment. Love that. Had fun last night. Like right now we got to heal ourselves such that we understand that this is a huge moment. And the women that went with Black women are doing the Lord's work on what they have put together. I do not know them. They don't know me. So this is me just saying, if there's an organization such as this that is doing this work and has been doing it every Sunday for 4 years to gather people, and they put together a plan, it is worth it for us to lean into it. It is worth it for us to trust and see what happens next. So it is worth it for us for last night to not just be a boom. But yes, your anxiety may kick up around things not being organized right. Yes, your anxiety may kick up around. Remember that time when that person said this thing to you, and you're real, and those feelings are real. Yes, your anxiety may your anxiety may kick up around things when people start talking about God or being overly Christian or like and Elvia, that's such a great point, because sometimes I know that in the Black community we're anchored in spirit, and this is why I love that Joteka kept saying Ashe. Like when she said that, I'm like, okay, somebody gets me, because just saying amen wasn't necessarily hitting it all the way for me. But when she said Ashe, I said, oh, okay. But I'm saying it to say there could be unity without full agreement. There could be unity without full agreement. There could be unity without full agreement. So I'm saying that to say, if, considering they have put a plan together, considering that they are mobilizing, considering that, the Ashe was like, I see you. So shout out to Jateka for that. They are doing the work as they see that needs to be done for what needs to happen in Black communities. Don't let the trauma that we've experienced, don't let the sort of negative things that people have said to us, done to us even. Don't let that, oh, I feel emotional around this. I don't know why, but don't let that deter you from doing the work that needs to be done for this moment. Right? Don't let that deter you. Because honestly, after they started being like, whose stream is this? And sort of criticizing, I got nervous. Like, okay, well, I don't necessarily want no smoke with these women. But then all my people were like, don't end the live, don't end the stream, don't end it. So I didn't end it. And who knows? Maybe in me not ending that stream, I took a risk of upsetting a particular network of people. What happened is the people were served on my end. I don't know about these other streams. I can't speak for nobody else. People were served. Those everybody that DM me got all the links to Win with Black Women. And I would have probably, if it was Black Girl Ventures and we were doing something that big and I meant to keep it private, but it leaked out, I would have probably felt the same anxieties that they felt. But I would have also sat back and been like, thank you to everybody that hosted a live. Thank you to everybody that hosted a live with good intentions outside of this live that we're streaming. Thank you to everybody who streamed my live, is what I would have said. Because you streamed to people that I couldn't get to. Right? Like that consciousness wasn't there because I know that they were trying to protect the space and all of that. But like the Congresswoman had already put it out there that this thing was happening. So it's kind of like I don't know that there was a real way to sort of lock it down for real. But I want to say that I don't, and I'm not asking for a thank you from them. I'm not saying that. I am only talking to y'all this morning. I got to get ready to go. This is the end of my today's news will own me. But today's news will own me is don't be deterred by the trauma that kicks up and the anxiety that kicks up. Don't be deterred by some of our past traumas that we've experienced. Try to take it as a grain of salt. Try to really vet out who is organizing. Try to work together during this time because it's going to take all of us. I was on the same kind of call when Oprah when they launched The Color Purple. Huge, thousands of people. Everybody was pledging their money. They had bought out theaters. D9 heads had bought out theaters. Black churches had bought out theaters. All of that. It was a boom for that moment, and it wasn't sustainable. What I'm seeing that feels different with Women with Black Women is they seem to actually have a strategy. They seem to have been taking these last 4 years to really build something out where people can participate. And so there's links to if you want to organize. There's links for if you want to join their mail list, things like that. Again, I'm not associated with this organization. But what it brought up for me is a moment for us to take a moment to collectively think about our healing in the face of things being too overly Christian and everybody ain't Christian. And some people might be. And sometimes I think Christianity automatically kicks up homophobia, right? So like sometimes if you're a person that doesn't live whatever life that's the same as the people on the stage, sometimes it kicks up trauma. So I just want to say also like hearing people's names called out and being revered that were actually mean to you or terrible to you or not nice to you or did rude things to you. Also, when the tech hiccups happen and things like that, we could tend to get, again, our anxiety kicks up. So I just want to share with everybody, listen, collectively heal. Take your time every day to meditate and pray to whoever you talk to or whoever you work with. And be sure that we are supporting each other. These women seem like they have a good strategy, but there's them and there's other people. So whoever you want to support, but right now, just do not be deterred. And that's my message for today. Don't be deterred. Tomorrow you can hear me on Sirius XM Urban View from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. On channel 126. I'll be live. You can call in and talk to me there too. I'm going to be talking. I wasn't going to mention this, but I am going to mention this because it needs to be mentioned. Thank you so much for everybody that's watching. If you missed this or you wanted somebody else to see it, or if you missed any, make sure you subscribe to the Omi Show on YouTube. It's the Omi Show, the OMI Show. Make sure you subscribe because these today's news with Omi will be posted there every time they end. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow with more news. And actually, maybe tomorrow I have news topics to share with y'all versus just reflections. But the call was amazing last night. We raised over $1 million in just a short, maybe 3 to 4 hours from that call. And so I'm so excited to see what the future will be. Don't let this be a boom. Let this be sustainable. All right. And heal. Have a good day.